Game number 1, it's the semifinals, everybody. We have another best of 5 series coming up at the Nexus contest, and it is France against the Ukraine, or Ukraine. It's kind of ingrained in my head that you say the Ukraine. That's kind of what I grew up with, but people were very adamant about, no, we don't do that anymore. You have to drop the article, because if you say the Ukraine and not Ukraine, then it sounds like it's not a real country, and we need to be precise here. So need to kind of try and put that in. Either way, we have two strong teams going up against each other. A bit of a stomp from both of them in their respective quarterfinal matches. France just obliterated Italy, and we saw a very similar setup also from... Was it Italy? I think it was Italy, right? Yeah, France against Italy, and Ukraine just dominated Germany. It wasn't pretty, I tell you that much. Heading into our first game here on Infernal Shrines, in our semi-final, we have now Diablo, a new Brock banned, or Fear even banned out here. Didn't quite expect that, to be honest with you. Insta-picks here on both sides. Hanzo and Jaina getting picked. Coach Mena for the French team, currently doing his best to give them another advantage in the game during draft. And he was very, very pleased with his performance there. Oh, France played against UK. My bad. It wasn't against Italy. I was just like, wait a second. There was something different. Italy played against Sweden, yeah. Need more coffee in the morning. That's pretty much what it comes down to here. But yeah, so against the UK, Mena was very happy with his draft performance. Now he wants to try and do the same thing against the Ukraine here for the French team. And the Hanzo and Jaina start into an Infernal Shrines game is already pretty solid. Dignitas played a lot with an early Hanzo in this setup, very successfully too. With Jaina you add more burst damage, you take Jaina away from the Tyrande composition, which is another benefit of this setup. And we are seeing Arthurs on the side lane for Ukraine, so it is going to be a pretty beefy front line. And I personally really like having Arthurs in this personal setup. I really like that quite a bit. Johanna banned out. I mean, main tank focus now. France knows that they have, with the next two picks, a chance to pick their own tank up. So, off lane, okay, Arthurs doesn't want to be drained by the Auric here. That's why we're seeing Ukraine ban that out. But this should still be a cool series. Like, I expect the French to have a bit of an edge here. To me, heading into this, they're the favorite. But Ukraine has shown against Germany and against other teams that they are definitely a team that is incredibly strong. So this is not going to be a walk in the park for the French. Blaze and Malfurion. I like it. It's a really good setup. It's a bit surprising to me that they banned out Johanna and then didn't pick a main tank. So they banned out another main tank. They allow now for Garrosh to be taken. Muradin obviously is still on the board too. Could go into Mal'Ganis if you really wanted to. But it's definitely interesting to see that they ban out another tank, but then don't pick a tank and go into the offlane instead. And there's the Garrosh pick. And Zeratul. Okay. Zeratul as the additional hero to put the pressure onto Hanzo and Jaina. And now, as a main tank, are we going to see Muradin? That might be the choice. We had a couple of Muradin games already from the French team in the group stage and even afterwards. And there it is. Muradin taken again. So they're going to try and deal with the dwarf here. But I actually like what Ukraine has too. It's a good setup for both of the teams, and I'm excited for this one. This should be a really cool series. It's a good best of 5 once again. Semi-final number 1 at the Nexus contest. France against the Ukraine, and map number 1 in the best of 5 series is Infernal Shrines. Game on, everybody! As we are heading into map number 1, we have the French team on the left. Banana Age for the team in blue, playing Malfurion. Quasar on Blaze, Nestip on Jaina, and Masquerade on Hanzo, with Val Beatbox on Muradin. Allez Bleu! And to the right side of the map, Ukraine with Witness on Jimmy. We have Valamax on Zeratul, Candlelight on Arthurs, Dinado on Garrosh, and Shamzik on Tyrande. The Garrosh pick here. Garrosh obviously has to be a bit careful. He's playing into a Jaina now, and Jaina with her slows can really control the movements of a frontliner quite nicely. And that really matters when you're going up against the Garrosh, because he wants to get close enough to you to go for the flip. So if Jaina plays her cards well, she should be able to avoid that for most of the time. That being said, the lineup's still a strong one. If Tyrande follows up the throws from Garrosh, that could be a lot of damage. And well, there it is, the kill against Jaina. Instantly, Ukraine with the first blood. Just a second ago we talked about it. Jaina, for some reason, starts hugging the bush over here and is way too close. And the Garrosh says like, well, if you want to die, I am happy to comply. I'm here for you. Let's go, girl. So first kill right away for Ukraine. Again, Coach Mene with the drafting for the team in blue. Obviously, former pro players are not allowed to play in this tournament. So this is one of these things that is kind of important. Mene therefore not playing, but he's coaching. And again, well, Beatbox being attacked here. One Stormbolt. Already the attempt to go for Jaina again. They try to go for Muradin, and he's actually getting flipped in. There's the stun, and that is kill number 2. And bam, just like that, a 2-0 kill lead for Ukraine. That is not the start that Coach Mene envisioned for his team. Like we I talk regularly to Mene, and before the tournament started, he told me immediately, dude, whenever my team wins, make sure that you tell everybody it's because of my insane skills as a coach and that the team just played my strategy perfectly. But if they lose, then you can let everybody know that the team just didn't do what I told them, and that's why they lost. Obviously, I was joking, but yeah, Coach Mene, I'm not sure if he really has his team's back. Either way, we have a fantastic start for the team in red. They're doing really well here, and they have the earlier level 4 talent now as a result of that too. We're seeing pretty much standard builds on the side of the Ukrainian team. We're looking over to it. We have the block talent on 1 taken for Arthurs. Sometimes, of course, you will see the quest talent for your Howling Blast, but then still into the Frozen Wastes. And with that, Jimmy going off also into Ace in the Hole. And this is a combo that in general is just insanely good. If you have Arthurs for the continuous slows, it just basically means that Ace in the Hole procs during the entire team fight. So it's a fantastic setup to have if you can combine Arthurs with Reyna. And these days, I actually think that Arthurs is absolutely fantastic when you look at the side lane in general, just because you have 2 very hit point heavy tanks at your front line, and that's pretty cool if you have big 5 versus 5 battles. And Infernal Shrines really caters to that, so Arthurs is going to get a lot of value here. Shrine active in 10 minutes, and only one of the teams is currently taking their Shaman camp, and it is Ukraine. To the left, we have the French not picking it just yet, so this is another great start here for the red team. But of course it comes down to the objective now, and who's going to take it here. We're moving in again with actually Malfurion going into the deep roots here to better connect those entrances towards the shrine. And right now, the lead in minion stacks for Ukraine. They are already pushing the opponent out. Nestip this time a little bit more careful with his positioning on Jaina, putting the pressure onto Denado on Garrosh. And we have the French team starting to push in here. Garrosh looking for the flip. Zeratul, of course, cleave action, nice damage, and the root is on the ground. Perfect setup from the French here. Denado about to fall, and yes, Garrosh dies. Great jet propulsion into the Malfurion root, and then Jaina is there for the damage. Incredibly well coordinated by the French team, and they get the kill against the frontliner. Well done by them. They're already massively in the lead on the minions too, and now they confirm the first Punisher. Very well done by them. And now the question, of course, how much damage they can do with this, but this is definitely what they needed here. They started a little bit rough into the game, losing 2 heroes right at the beginning to those combos, but now aggressively jumping in with Muradin as well. After the Punisher moves in, Muradin jumps into it, tries to set another Stormbolt up, and they're breaking through the wall. Easy peasy. That was definitely a great fight for them. Really good setup. And it showcases again that especially level 7 is going to be needed for future shrine fights, so that celestial attunement is going to be a thing. Without that, it will be pretty tricky. Iceborne Fortitude on Arthurs. It's going to keep him alive in a lot of those fights later on. Same time now, we're also having for Muradin 5 stacks on his Stormballs. He's going to be trying to work on that and get that Pierce in. But so far not really too much here. At the top lane, Candlelight is going to try and soak the lane again. Both of the teams are chilling out a little bit. I mean, it is the semifinals, and it is also single elimination. So if you don't win this series, then you are out of the tournament. And you can bet that France took a close look at what the Ukraine did to Germany and said, alright, we can't underestimate these kids. They are definitely going to bring the heat if we give them an opportunity. And therefore a little bit more calm in the beginning of the game than we usually saw from the French team here. Also, Wormhole now ready for Zeratul, and I mean, whenever we talk Zeratul, it's of course the late game that we're focusing in quite heavily. Once you have your Void Slash on 16, it's going to be incredibly difficult to keep Jaina and Hanzo, even Malfurion alive in the backline if Zeratul gets an open lane there. So that's going to be a super important setup if they get to that point. And Ukraine is in the lead in experience. I mean, they lost the first Punisher, but they are still taking a really nice position here. A little bit far ahead in XP. They get the camps. They also got, of course, some value through the camp that they took earlier. The Shaman camp took one of the towers down to the top and put some pressure onto the wall itself. So it wasn't a complete loss for the red team. Hanzo, by the way, in terms of his build, again with Redemption on 1, heading into the sharpened arrowheads on level 7, and the explosive arrows for the wave clear on level 4 now for him. And with now level 10 abilities coming in, we're not seeing any surprises there, but this is pretty much where the mid-game starts for us. Level 10 heroics coming in, and it's just in time for the shrine. It will also drop into the hands of the French. Don't expect any surprises there either, to be honest with you. The only thing that we can look towards is maybe Jaina going into Water Elemental. I would still expect Ring, and that's what we're seeing here too. Malfurion with Tranquility, and it's all about getting this set up again. I mean, the deep root on Malfurion alone already tells you a bit what they really want to do here. Control those entrance points, make sure that you have a good setup whenever there's a stun. It might be from Murden, it might be the jet propulsion from Blaze, but whatever happens, make sure that Malfurion has the follow-up ready. He's able to go in and set everything up for Jaina. And let's not forget about Hanzo here either. I mean, he has the arrow too. So there's a lot of lockdown now on the side of the French team. It can all be thwarted though by Zeratul. If Zeratul sees that coming and hits the Void Prison on the damage dealers, they can definitely ruin any kind of play around it. And at the same time, we're going to see Garrosh try and go for a flip and go for the taunt. He gets the taunt in. They try to go for the damage, and Masquerade survives. Barely. Here comes the Void Prison. The Ring of Frost is out, and they're trying to make that play. But Jamsig is low, and Tirana gets thrown out, and Hanzo finally obliterated as we see Valamax and Zeratul diving in deep in the backline, getting the kill. Muradin immediately tries to go for the counter kill, but he doesn't get close enough, and now Blaze also dead. Massive explosive fight that we just saw. Initiated by Garrosh, who went for the taunt. The damage comes out. We still have the escape of Hanzo, and then just as the Ring of Frost comes down and everything is getting dropped by the French, we have Zeratul making sure that Hanzo is isolated and cannot get the arrow through. No additional arrow, no Hanzo ult, and then once the Void Prison is over, Zeratul goes in for the kill, and Ukraine with 4 kills against 1 now, moving through the middle of the map, trying to drop the wall here. Good fight for them. Really, really nice engage on both sides, but a bit better coordinated by the Ukrainians. And they are now in a position where they might be able to get even more. They're already looking for Nestip here, but Nature's Cure keeps him out of harm's way as Garrosh is looking for the engage. They open the small wall to follow up on the Punisher stun. They take the wall down, put a bit of pressure onto the fort itself, but outside of that they can't do too much more. Valamax now, down at the bottom of the map, already dealing with one of the mercenary camps. They're again trying to gain the map control here by controlling the camps. Top side was pressured a bit by the Shaman camp that was taken by the French team, but Arthas was there in time to push back most of it. And now we have level 13 talents in their hands. And with that, we have Shattered Armor. Trying to go even for quicker kills through the Howling Blast. Armor reduction alone is of course going to help a lot, and let's keep in mind that we now have 2 heroes who can apply that. It's not only about Arthas, but the Hunter's Mark of Tyrande is another big tool in the arsenal of Ukraine. And with a slight lead that they have by just a level, it's not going to be a talent advantage for the entire time. I mean, we're already going to see the French coming into that pretty soon. Nice Indomitable being used by Donato here, dodging the Storm Bolt, making sure that that doesn't hit home. It's a good play also, just like securing the flank the entire time, securing the entire play. For example here, Zeratul does the same. He gives a bit of an idea to Arthas what's happening at the top. Garrosh is always sitting at the side, protecting the flank, making sure that when his team tries to take a camp anywhere, he anchors the play, makes sure nobody can move in for it. Level 13 talents now ready for both of the teams, and that of course gives us, amongst other things, also the healing static for Muradin, so a bit more survivability there. We're having the Ninja Assassin. Cooldown reduction, super important here for him to be a little bit more mobile. The fuel leak too, and the Nature's Swiftness. So the movement speed to keep Malfurion a bit alive for longer and give him also an opportunity to move out of harm's way, especially when Garrosh is trying to home in on him. With that being said, when it comes to quest talents, we still have a lot of quests up in the air and not completed yet. I mean, that goes for the Warbreaker on Garrosh's side. Also, if you look at the Frozen Tempest for Arthur, sitting at 90 stacks on his level 4 talent now. And still both of the teams shocking around on the map and seeing what they can do if they can maybe pressure the lane a little bit more and get a kill somewhere, or maybe some structures. And that also means that we have the Fountain at the bot lane now taken out for the next Punisher. That's going to be great. And they're looking for more. They're invading deep here. Good throw from Garrosh, making sure that Witness on his Reyna is not in trouble. But it's a heavy engage that we're seeing from the French, and they're taking the fort at the bot lane. There is a trade-off though. Up to the top side, we have with Zeratul and Arthas a very, very strong push going on against the structure. So we end up with an even trade, but it's still a bit favorable for the French because the next shrine spawns in the middle. So the only retreat path that Ukraine has is towards the middle, where they still have a fountain open. So they still have some sustain there, but they can't retreat towards the bottom of the map. And if the Punisher gets taken by France, then they go for keep immediately. Oh, that could be a problem though. The taunt, the stun, and they're going straight for Beatbox and his Muradin. He gets locked down by Arthas now too, but the Ring of Frost comes out. Arthas survives thanks to Garrosh. Hyperion is in play, and they make it work. They can't get the kill against Muradin, but a heavy cooldown exchange that we're already seeing here from both of the teams as the fight starts. Now 16 in the hands of Ukraine. They have the talent advantage. They haven't lost the hero. They tapped in the mid lane, and now they're re-engaging into the battle again. And Zeratul now has Void Slash. They go for Muradin once more. Already in the back line, we're seeing the Void Prison. Stormbolt misses against Valamax, but he can't get the kill in against Jaina anyways. The position on the shrine, on the other hand, is secured by Ukraine, and they're starting to take all of those stacks right now. The French are trying to push in. They're down at talent, but they're still trying to somehow make it through all of this. Once again, Indomitable being used. Dead propulsion from Blaze. He's hit by Tyrande, but it's a massive exchange of damage on both sides here with no one falling yet. But we have a slight lead in the stacks for the red team. Ukraine is trying to get the punish here, but the focus from the French onto Arthas, walking into the Blizzard here. Garrosh again looking for an opportunity to get to Jaina in the backline. Maybe even Banana H on his Malfurion, but they can't make it happen yet. 3 stacks away from getting the Punisher. And here comes Ukraine going in with another stun against Muradin. The roots are on the ground though, but the Punisher is already taken, and Ukraine is starting to push through the bottom. They have the Void Slash now. They have the Paint Them Red from Jim Reyna, so he has the sustain. He has the penetrating round and can get the damage in. And even Arthas here with the Embrace Death. Super important talent for him as well. He has been focused a lot, so a fantastic talent for him and his sustainability. And the French moving away right now. Setting Blaze to the top lane immediately to hope and get level 16 for the defense here. But the fort has already fallen, and Ukraine is on the march. They're moving in through the side wall. Stuns again against Val Beatbox. Nature Cure used by Malfurion to make sure that he doesn't get locked down too hard. They know that there's a lot of kill potential now from the red team, and they're going for keep. They're trying again for Muradin. Avatar is back online. Hits the Stormbolt, but here comes the Punisher. The taunt into the stun! And that's the end of Muradin. The Ring of Frost is out, but it doesn't do enough damage. The Void Prison with a lockdown, and they're starting to go in heavily for this one. Good setup from Ukraine. They get the keep, and they move out just as the French team gets their level 16. They get it, but it's too late, and the mid lane has suffered as well as the fort is about to fall. Massive structural advantage now from Ukraine. In terms of damage, it's really Jimmy bringing the numbers here, but you can see that Zeratul is already nipping at his heels, and with Void Slash now being ready, this is one of the things that will definitely change here pretty soon, depending on Zeratul's performance. We have decent heal coming out of Tyrande, even out-healing Malfurion with his Tranquility, thanks to all those millions there. And at the same time now, looking over at the damage numbers, Arthur still sitting at 15,000, which isn't too bad either. Great position from Ukraine. 5 kills against 1, and they have taken the lead in this first game of the best of 5 series. We are in the semi-final, and of course nerves are going to play a role here too. But so far, this is the first real challenge that we are seeing in this tournament for the French team. And they have to deal with this somehow. Right now, they are still hoping for a comeback, obviously. And they're not out of this yet. They lost 1 keep, but they can still fight on even talents. And if they win the next shrine, they can definitely use a Punisher to gain some momentum in this game, and that's what they're going to try and do. We're already having this set up here in the middle with another trap attempt against Muradin. Needs to be really careful. Jumps out. A lot of damage on our beatbox. Damn! The stun barely misses him, but here comes the arrow from Hanzo. The ring's set up, and it doesn't do enough. Mirrodin with the Avatar moves in again. The jet propulsion only hitting the backline. The Void Prison already being used to zone them out. And Mirrodin and Blaze might both be in trouble here. They're trying to turn this though. And we have Ukraine moving back out of the fight. Again, the focus onto Candlelight. Arthur's in trouble. Zeratul jumping into the backline with the Void Slash, one after another. Banana Agent is Malfurion, uses the Tranquility, tries to keep his teammates alive, but the fight isn't over just yet. They go for Mirrodin, and they take him down. Mirrodin is dead, and the chase is on. Duranda not connecting the stun here, but they're trying to get Jaina, and she is isolated and will fall for sure. The second kill comes in. And what a fight again by Ukraine. They can't go for the core here, and they know it too, but they have camps pushing the middle, they have camps pushing the top lane. They're half a level away from level 20, and they're now trying to get maybe another key, but at least a wall, and they focus onto the middle of the map. The shrine is spawning too, another 25 seconds. The French team will be back in full force once that's the case, but level 20 is so close for Ukraine that there is just no hope for the French to fight on even talents. And the keep in the middle is heavily attacked. Masquerade on his hands, so needs to be careful since Denardo is always looking for him here. The keep goes down, and this means if this particular shrine is won by Ukraine, if they take it, Punisher will go straight for the core. It's a tough position for the French to be in. We have now level 20 abilities, and this is an Arcane Punisher as well, so things just getting worse at this point in time. We're already having now the anti-magic shell for Arthas. He wants survivability, and he's definitely getting it with a level 20 talent. His Storm talent is going to do wonders against Jaina once the burst comes with the Ring of Frost. Damage already on Leonardo. They're going for Zeratul. He barely jumps out here. Good stun. Zeratul with a slash. The Void Prison is in. Here comes the... Oh, the taunt against 3! And the kill against Jaina. Mirrodin falls immediately. The bunker not saving them either. And with Blaze being eliminated, this is pretty much looking like checkmate right now. What a fantastic game by Ukraine. 10 kills against 1. And they're looking for Malfurion. And they are getting Malfurion. He goes down immediately. The shattering armor here is just fantastic. The Howling Blast connects, and this is going to be a first victory in this series for Ukraine. A fantastic first map by them. And France realizing now that they are in for a tough battle against a strong Ukrainian team that wins Infernal Shrines, takes least in the best of 5, and definitely is going to make their life a living hell. GG, and well played. Game number 2. Towers of Doom is the map, and the French team is behind. Ukraine came out swinging in game number 1. They did really, really well. I expected this to be a really close series, and I talked about this yesterday before the semifinals, that I expect both of them to actually be pretty epic and explosive, but I didn't expect Ukraine to come out swinging like this. That was actually something. So they are doing extremely well here. Now again, it is map number 1 in a best of 5 series. You can do quite a bit here, and of course Mena adjusts the draft immediately, bans Zeratul out and says like, yeah, after this performance, you know what, I think we should probably target him here, because he did really well. He had really good Void Prisons in the backline, isolating heroes that really mattered to the combo. So Zeratul gets banned out now from the French team. Still the ban on Maiev. So this is the cool thing about a best of 5 series. You can learn from, like, you can learn more and adapt a lot more during the drafts than you can do in a best of 3. So you can experiment a little bit. Which hero is a key component of my opponent's draft? What do I have to ban? What can I actually just let go through? What can we deal with? And for the time being, they just decided, okay, let's keep Zeratul out of this. Try and see what happens when we ban him out, if they still have an answer to our draft. And they also ban Arthurs. So really, really cool setup. Immediately the reaction, looking at game number 1 and saying, okay, Arthurs was a problem for us, Zeratul was a problem for us, let's ban the 2, see how they react, see what they do, and then adjust on the fly. And this is what I love about best of 5 series, that you have oftentimes these adjustments right there. So Tyrande banned out now as well. We have still Maiev taken out. Now, of course, the question what we have as the first pick, because if you start to shake up the ban pattern, you allow heroes through that previously were denied. And one of the heroes that we saw banned out previously was, for example, Diablo. So there's always the trade-off that you have. You ban a hero that you see your opponents doing well with, but you let something else enter the draft, and then it's the big question. Is that going to be a mistake from our perspective? Are they even stronger with that? What can we adjust to? What do we have trouble dealing with in the long run? So we have Hanzo taken again as the first pick. We've seen a huge priority from the Swedish team onto Hanzo as well. So this is something that personally, for example, for our next semi-final between Sweden and Russia, I would expect to be fought over, since Sweden is very much so homing in on Hanzo and Junkrat in a lot of these games. But in the series at hand, we have Ukraine again relying on Garrosh at the front line and Malfurion for the follow-up, trying to get the route set up just afterwards. How are the French adjusting their own draft now? Now again, it is Towers of Doom, so you can play with Dehaka here on the off lane. They normally try to play a lot with Blaze, and I think Blaze in general is still a fantastic hero for them, even though he didn't work out on the last map. But you can play with Dehaka here, you can play with Blaze. They go in a Nubarak setup, even though Tyrande and Malfurion are both denied. Again, Jaina for the burst damage, so they could go Stukov, for example. Stukov might be one of the heroes that they might consider here. Ana, obviously, another potential pick, with Jaina in particular. But Stukov, after a Nubarak's engage, can drop the silence. Has the virulent reaction on 13. That allows you to lock the target down even more. So, for sure an option for them. Deckard Cain could be used too. And what's the ban now? I mean, you know the setup here already. You banned, like, they banned a lot of the out of the first game, right? So for now, Abathar. Okay, taking care of him first. I mean, Abathar together with Garrosh is terrifying. It's not only the extra sustain that he has, but for example, the level 16 talent on Abathar also gives you a speed boost. And Garrosh with the speed boost is insane. I mean, what's your job as Garrosh? Get close to the target, throwing it into a team, stun it out, and get the taunt through. If you have a speed boost as well, boy, you are having a good time. Thrall and Li Ming for Ukraine now. Thrall for the top lane, most likely. Could go into a triple frontline, obviously, if they wanted to, and keep Thrall in a 4-man rotation. But very likely we're going to have Thrall on the offlane. And here on Towers of Doom, what's the offlaner for the French team? Is it going to be Dehaka? Are they trying to play the global? Or are we seeing Blaze again to help a Nubarak out here? Could, of course, be a few other choices. I mean, we still have Leoric around, you still have Urel in the mix. But given past performance, those are probably the most likely heroes to be taken here. Oh, Stukov! We get Stukov for the Nubarak engage. But we have now Samuro. Alright, this is already going to be good. Samuro as a little bit of an X-factor on Towers of Doom. He can be really, really strong here to try and take structures down. I like the Stukov setup for the 4-man that we're seeing now. Trying to get the Nubarak engage in. Stukov, as mentioned before, with the silence and the root after the virulent reaction. And then the burst damage coming in from Jaina. Pretty sweet. And there's the Dehaka. Triple frontline from Ukraine. Alright. Game number 2. Towers of Doom. Ukraine is in the lead in our best of 5 series. Let's find out who's going to take this one. Let's jump straight in and see which team is going to take it on Towers of Doom. Game number 2, France against Ukraine. And on the left side of Towers of Doom, it's the French team. Allez le Bleu, Banana H on Stukov, Nestip for the second time in a row now on Jaina, Dequaza for the offlane on Samuro. We have Masquerade again on Hanzo, and Val Beatbox, the frontliner on Nubarak. And to the right side of the map, the Ukrainian team with Witness on Thrall, Valamax on Li Ming. We have Shamzik on Malfurion. Denado gets to play Garrosh again. And Candlelight on Dehaka. So they have a global hero that has the wave clear to deal with Samuro. But of course the entire setup for the team in blue is still really interesting here. Samuro is always a huge X-factor because he can really push a lot of damage out in the later stages of the game, but at the same time he's a fantastic hero to not only take the solo lane, but then more so have that global ability through his level 10, his level 20, and take structures down very easily if you don't pay attention. An interesting adjustment also on level 1 for Stukov, so he's going for range immediately from the get-go. We're seeing him with the Spine Launcher, so it's pretty cool to keep him farther in the backline. And the way that especially Ukraine has played so far, it's probably a smart adjustment to be made here. Now the setup between the Haka and Samura at the top lane is going to be one of the most interesting ones for me. So I want to see how their Quasar actually runs this, and it's definitely a cool adjustment to see that both are relying on a global now, or a pseudo-global in the case of Samuro. But who's going to win this in the long run here? Outside of that, we have Thrall still with the Echo of Elements as his level 1 talent choice, so not going into Trash Lightning. Sometimes you see that if Thrall is part of the 4-man rotation, but even in this setup, they're not really believing in that tool. Both of the teams now, as a mercenary spawn, going for them immediately. Well, we actually have an aggressive move again by Ukraine. They're going straight for the engage here. They're saying like, well, we're going to take this. They use the Haka, move onto the bot lane, and steal it away. Which of course also means that the Haka is now missing topside. Should be back in time to catch most of the experience here, but it's definitely a bit of a loss. I don't even think he needed to move in, to be honest. I think they wanted to be ready just in case, but that's 2 minions lost. Well, we might have actually been able to catch this one. So 1 or 2 minions have been lost. But outside of that, we're having another one taken. Nuburak needs to be really careful. Denado gets his stacks in for the level 1 quest. Oh, and Nuburak with the attempt to go for Thrall here. But both of the camps at the bot lane have now been captured by Ukraine, and France is doing their thing. A little bit intimidated here. I mean, giving up the camp is fine. With the Haka burrowing in, you don't really want to take that battle. But still a situation where the early game, at least, is slightly in favor of Ukraine. It's not a massive lead or anything, don't get me wrong. But still, this is already starting to show that Ukraine is willing to be aggressive here. And they're trying to go straight in again. Keep in mind, the silence of Stukov actually silences also the mercenaries. So they won't go in and explode onto any of the structures. So it also means that you can't attack the core with mercenaries if Stukov drops the silence. Basically, the entire explosion thing that the mercenaries have going here is a spell and ability, and so silence affects it. That's actually pretty important to know. Some people don't. And you can also throw them into the core with Garrosh. That's another thing that some people might not be familiar with. You might get to see that later. The exchange at the top, as you would expect it, it's a triple altar phase, and top left, top right usually get exchanged from the team. Talking team, uh-oh, the drag, oh, if that drag connects with Jaina, she's dead. She's just straight up dead. And Candlelight, it didn't get it connected. Denardo is now on the channel, and that means Ukraine is getting 2 out of 3 altars. Again, it comes at a cost, there is a trade-off. Samuro was at the top lane, never really moved into the fight. They're playing with him for the late game, and this is now experience currently that you lose as the red team, and both of the towers are being dropped as well. So you gain 4 additional points of your opponent's core, but you're losing out on a little bit of minion experience, and you lose your wall. So it's a trade-off that France for now was happy to make. If it's worth it or not, that's something we're going to find out in the later stage of the game. Pretty hard to tell for the time being. Depends on how much Samuro is going to be able to push through the top lane later on. And Uberok, by the way, goes into the Carapace build. We see that a lot more now than the Burrow Charge ability, where you are trying to go into the Subterranean Shield on level 7. So for now, we are actually seeing the Rubian Armor on level 1, dealing with Liming a little bit, having also the Shed Exoskeleton. And another fight, maybe even here over the camp, but the camp is taken. Denado is now slowed, and good Indomitable from him. But we talked a bit about the interaction in game number 1 already between Garrosh and Jaina, and Jaina didn't really have a great time against Garrosh in game 1, but it's still a setup that is important when we're talking about synergies or asymmetries here. So Jaina's slow can heavily control Garrosh's movement if played correctly, and that makes it harder for Denardo to move in to get the throw. Level 7, the Phantom Blade for Samuro, as you would expect. Very standard build from him. Level 1, level 4, you want to go into your mirror images, you're trying to get the stacks together on level 1. We're having at the same time now the Phantom Blade taken. Hanzo is playing the same Redemption build that you already showcased in game number 1 with the adjustment on level 4, where you want to have your explosive arrows to have some added wave clear. So he's going to try and play through that. And for the current altar, Samuro is going to make his way down to the bottom of the map. Jaina's already on the channel, and guess who? It's Dehaka. He's moving in, tries to connect the drag. Here comes the Blizzard. The drag does not connect, but they still get the kill. Jaina is down, was trying to juke and jive here, but moved straight into harm's way. Had to dodge the tongs somehow, and then falls early on in the fight. Looking strong at this point for Ukraine. They get Hanzo too. Thrall taking him down, and that's a double kill here. And Ukraine is really, really starting to turn up the heat here. Another altar channel, and I'm starting to be a little bit afraid for the French. Now again, I expected coming into this series a close series between the two teams, but I had actually, if someone would have told me or asked me, okay, who would you bet on? Who would you bet on if you had to? I would have said, I think the French are going to clutch it out. But right now, it's Ukraine running the show. They have the lead already in the entire series. There comes Dequaza running away. Thrall is on him. If that cooldown on the Wolf is back, he might be able to get him. Barely moving out of harm's way. That was a close call, though. And at the bot lane, the pressure just continues with Mercenaries taken again. They're taking the wall, they're taking the turret, and they nearly have level 10. The Ukrainians, they can not only make good vodka, they're also pretty decent heroes of the storm, as it turns out. Look at that. France is behind. 2 kills against 0. There's a level 10, Disintegrate. Has been chosen. We see the Earthquake. And with level 10, they're immediately saying, like, well, that camp is ours. What are you going to do? Fight us without heroic abilities? Good luck with that, boys. Still, Hanzo is still in the middle. Heroics are finally in. And that now means that we're seeing, first of all, the Hanzo engage, of course, possible through the arrow. We have also the Cocoon that's going to be lasered into the ground by Li Ming with the Disintegrate. It's the main reason why Li Ming took Disintegrate in the first place. If you don't have an Anubarak on the other side, the standard choice for Li Ming is still the Wave of Force to be taken. Fantastic talent to just push someone into your combo, but if you go up against the Cocoon, you want to burn it down as quickly as you can, and very few tools in the game are as good as Li Ming's ult, and the cooldown obviously is also quite low. And we're heading straight into the next battle. It's a double altar on the map. Still 4 bell towers under control, or 3 bell towers under control of each team. Here comes the engage. Great Ring of Frost, and Thrall is down, and Garrosh is also suffering. Their heals are there, but it's a triple kill. The French team is just saying, are you kidding us? Of course we're still in this. They're going in, they're trying to take now a 4th kill, and they're able to pull that off too. They go for Malfurion, and he dies. 4 heroes taken down. 24 points on the core now against 32. There was at least 1 channel that we saw from Li Ming, but they make it a full team wipe. France goes in and says, we are not going to just roll over like this. You're not going to get an easy 2-0 against us. They move in, they take one of the 2 altars, but they get a full team wipe going, and that gives them momentum on the bot lane to go for that bell tower. Really well done by them. Good coordination, and that fight just didn't turn out well for Ukraine. Great Ring of Frost again. The immediate burn down against Thrall. The kill against Garrosh as he was trying to move out of harm's way. Nestip definitely getting revenge on his Jaina against Garrosh. And now the top lane pressure continues with Samuro. Trying to push the lane in, trying to put some pressure here. Bottom, by the way, they keep this for now. They don't take it. So this is now one of these setups where the Ukrainian team can't take it back. But at any point, you send Jaina over, and all she has to do is drop a single Blizzard. Jaina can, at any point later on, as long as they have vision, literally move down here, outside of the vision, move into the side, drop a quick Blizzard, retreat, and that will drop the bell tower into the hands of France. And that's going to be fantastic for them. So whenever they want to pull that off, they can do it. Already we're seeing that little skirmish here at the bot lane. The taunt is in. The Ring of Frost does only hit Thrall. Earthquake is through. Garrosh dies. No follow-up. And there we have the kill against Witness possibly as well. It's another double kill. They're moving in once more. Now they can get the bell tower. They can get the altar, get 5 shots in. They have level 13 talents, which already helped them in the fight here. The Ring of Frost at the beginning not hitting quite as much as they wanted, but they get the first kill. There was no counter kill, no follow-up from Ukraine, and now France is bringing the pain. 5 shots fired, and we're looking at 24 points on the core against 27. A wave is lost topside though, but they're already ahead in experience, and well, Samuro moves in so they don't lose the entire wave. They lose a few minions, but that's about it. They're protecting the bell tower at the bot lane now. It's a really strong game now from France. And again, consider, in the early game, they didn't really look too powerful here, but they're fighting back, and it is the series that we expected. 14,000 damage for Li Ming, but just look at Samuro himself. 22,000! Hanzo sitting at 21k. 13 talents now on both sides. Samuro also with the quest completion. And of course with the 13 talent. We're now having, amongst other things, also the virulent reaction. That's a huge part of the power that Stukov can bring into a battle. So a big power spike whenever you want to get that lockdown, so that you can play around Jaina's burst damage. And Samuro is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Heading into Shukuchi now. And with that, I mean, like, he's already pressuring the top bell tower, so he's going to be all over the place trying to take structures down. The bot lane is currently protected. Dehaka even needs Thrall for now to help him out with that, but that bell tower is nearly taken, and Samuro is just all over the place. Quasar is playing really well on this, and this is definitely starting to become a massive problem for Ukraine. Not only are they behind experience, they lost the bell tower, it's a triple altar phase, so depending on how this is going to be run now, it's going to be... it could be potentially a disaster. 2 taken would mean 10 points off the core. And there's another minion wave that pushes in, drops a couple more 8 points. They invade on the right side. They're trying to get both. Hanzo's at the bot lane. He's going to channel this one. That's going to happen for them. Interrupt right here. Bit of damage onto Valamax. Phantom Blade is doing work. And they're currently holding. There's still 2 on the map. Hanzo can use the arrow. Dehaka is in trouble. The Ring of Frost. They're winning basically a 4 versus 5. France is basically winning a 4 versus 5. Yes, the Hanzo arrow came through, but he arrives late, and now they're going for it. It could potentially be 3 altars channeled by France. Ukraine is desperately trying to get a kill here. They already pushed Samuro to the top to top himself off at the fountain. They're moving back now, attempting to at least channel this one, but Garrosh is dead. They're moving in, and France is getting 2 altars. Ukraine at least able to get 1. The 16 talents now in their hands. There's just nothing you can do there anymore. Another 5 shots fired. Things are starting to look grim. Bottom still controlled completely. Camps taken all over the place. The French team is coming back in this series with a great performance on Towers of Doom. They're looking at a 2-level lead nearly, and they have now 8 kills against 2. Great game by them. And once again, minions at the bot lane. They're trying to zone it here. There's very, very little in terms of defense. They can burn that wave down. They might actually be able to get a few of those mercenaries through. But now that Garrosh is here and Thrall as well, it might become a little bit more difficult. But top lane, Samuro is doing his thing. And he's very likely, yep, he gets it. He gets another bell tower. And this is just really the shit hitting the fan now. I mean, we're looking at 6 bell towers against 2 at this point in time. The map control has completely shifted over to France, and they're now working on the mid lane as well. And you can't lose all of this. So right now, it's just all over the place. This game is starting to become a massive problem. The Haka is still topside, is trying to just intercept those waves to at least get 1 tower back. But they have to split heroes into the middle to the top. And there's still mercenaries moving through. 1 shot fired right there, 16 points against 21 now. Samuro all over the place. I mean, just look at the numbers here. Samuro is currently sitting at 73,000 siege damage. He has 27,000 hero damage. He's contributing in the fights, but at the same time, he's getting the numbers onto the board with the rotations. He's working in the mid lane now. We have 2 more altars spawning on the map, and that's potentially 12 shots fired if they get both. But Samuro is now working on this one. And he is insanely powerful against structures. We talked about this during draft and at the beginning of the game. Quasar is playing a fantastic game here on the hero, and he makes Dehaka's life a living hell. Moving now to the top left, going for the first channel here. We're having at the same time an attempt to maybe even interrupt Candlelight. Currently doesn't do that. 2 shots fired only. That's just simply not enough. And now with the Samuro channel about to be completed, we're going to see 6 additional points taken off the core of Ukraine. They're down to 10 points. They need a team fight, and they need it badly. They need, now that they're on 16, a good fight, get Garrosh into a good position, get the immediate taunt through, and then follow it up with damage, especially from Li Ming. If she gets the resets, they might be able to snowball the fight and then start to take back the map. But it's going to be difficult no matter how it happens. 16 talents, this is a good start, and that's the kill right there. Once again, Garrosh with a flip, the taunt right in the death zone, and that might be the moment that they needed here. They're immediately working on that bottom bell tower, and they're going to reclaim it. And up to the top, Dehaka has already taken another one. This is maybe the moment where Ukraine makes their comeback into this second map a reality. They're trying, they're definitely trying. Mid lane, Samuro is able to at least snipe one. Quasar even gets out. should be able to recapture it. 27 additional seconds until we're seeing an Uberak back on the map. But this is the moment when Ukraine is starting to become aggressive. But they're a bit too late on the camp. France has already taken it. They retreated immediately towards the camp and took it right away. Now Ukraine gets at least one, but they are still in a pretty tricky setup. They're level behind. Storm Talents are a threat to them in a few more minutes. Double altar again on the top. And Ukraine is just looking for kills. They're looking to somehow gain the momentum right now. And they have to. They are at least in a position where they have reclaimed some of their bell towers, but it's still an advantageous position for France. And of course they are far ahead also when we're looking at points on the core. 9-point difference right now. Another attempt to go here for the middle. Candlelight has to play around the burrow as well to dodge some of those shots from the bell tower that got converted earlier. And with the Nuburak being back to business, there's still the heavy invade. They're trying to get both of them. Hanzo arrow comes through, is not getting dodged. We're hoping that they could maybe get that. Nature's Cure a little bit late. There was no follow-up there anyways. But here's the 3 shots fired, thanks to the channel on the right side. And level 20 is so close that Ukraine is just not willing to go for it. They're saying, nope, let it go. Let it go. If they stall it out a bit longer, we're going to be in trouble. 5 points on the core. They're down to single digits. But they have their bell tower back. And with the bell tower taken, we have them very, very close to level 20 now as well. So they're hoping for Storm Talents. They're hoping for the Storm Talents to make the difference here. Bot lane is going to be attacked again. And again, we are on Towers of Doom. This is a map where you can definitely come back. And they're going to try. They know that they have still a chance. They at least are back to 4 bell towers. So both of them hold the exact same amount. But the game isn't over yet. France has played an amazing series here. But they haven't won this yet. Storm Talents in their hands. The red team claiming their own now. Denado moving out. Again, doing well. Earth and Shield. Great, great talent here. And here it comes. They're going in. Dehaka is there. Misses the contagion. Dehaka missing the contagion as they're trying to make the play. The Ring of Frost, it hits. And Malfurion is dead. While Beatbox is low, but he doesn't fall. The poke that we're seeing coming from Ukraine is just not enough. Malfurion down. They try to go for more. It's a 4 versus 5. Dehaka barely dodging the attack, but he falls regardless. They're going for Li Ming now, and she gets burned to the ground. And France is just moving all over them right now, trampling in them into the ground. They get the bell tower, and now that the altar is being announced, this should be lights out. 3 heroes are down. They can go for the boss, they can go for the altar. No matter what they do, they're in a great position. They're moving into the middle, trying to get another kill here. Denado is in trouble, gets slowed down by Jaina. Even the push straight into the wall, and they're locking him down again. Denado is dead, and that is going to be the end of the game. The altar in another 5 seconds is gonna be it. Damage output absolutely insane here from them, especially when we're looking towards Hanzo and Jaina. The burst damage was great. Samuro worked out really well. They get the channel through. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the tie in this series, in this semi-final, in this best of 5, as France takes Towers of Doom. Game number 3, Brax's holdout, France against the Ukraine, and we had a pretty sick series so far. The Ukraine with an opening game on Infernal Shrines that obliterated the French. But then game number 2 started to change things up quite significantly with a very, very good performance on Samuro from Dequaza for the French team. Again, the ban on Arthas, so kind of identifying him in game number 1 as one of the problems that they had, where they couldn't just really deal with that. Ukraine, they ban out a Nubarak. They don't want to deal with those engages and those cocoons anymore. He has just too much potential there to force fights that you don't really want to take, and they are not willing to risk that again. Braxis is the map, and it is the map choice of Ukraine. So they are currently in a situation where they have chosen Braxis, a map that is not played all that often. So we can expect them to come into this with a game plan where they say this is something that the French team is probably not going to be able to handle. Tyrande banned out, and again the Maiev ban. I mean, Maiev has been throughout this entire tournament the most banned hero by far. I mean, we very, very rarely have seen her played at all. I think she appeared once, if I'm not mistaken, and won that game too. So another big reason for that. But yeah, first pick. What's it going to be, France? What are they going to go for? Jojo. Johanna for wave clear. I mean, normally the setup that you have on Brax's Holder is you have a 1-4 split. 4 at the bot lane, 1 hero up at the top. And it's really important that in your 4-man you also have a huge amount of wave clear, because the idea is obviously that you're burning the wave through pretty quickly and then you try and focus on the beacon itself. I'm a bit surprised that Genji wasn't actually banned out, because Genji is a huge factor on Brax's holdout. He can just move between lanes so quickly because he can move over terrain. So that is one of the aspects where he can offset the top lane balance very, very easily. And for now we have Hanzo and Malfurion taken. Jaina and Ana for the bot lane. Massive amount of wave clear. Good burst, but also a massive amount of wave clear right there. You have Jaina, you have Johanna. Top lane setup is already looking really, really good for France. Mene again drafting here. So we have a setup in which a pro gamer or a former pro gamer can assist the teams as a coach. There's the Genji ban, okay. They're not planning on picking Genji for themselves here, but they still want to ban him out. Probably happy that it wasn't taken yet for France. Yeah. Let's see what Ukraine is going to pick next. And they need a little bit more wave clear down at the bottom of the map. That's really going to be the most interesting part for me personally, like what exactly the setup is going to be for them there. We haven't seen any offlaners yet either, so oftentimes you will see a Leoric at the top lane. Blaze is still going to be a huge one. You can see Urel here. Malthael, depending on the setup, would also be nice. So there's the ban on Zeratul. Still respecting that. Actually, in this case, it's France banning it out. Not bad. And there's Diablo. Alright. Mr. Dibbles. Toxic Diablo, Breeze style. That's the skin that Breeze always used when he was playing Diablo, the one that he preferred the most. And Alarak. Alright, we're getting a little bit spicy here. Alarak taken. Yeah, let's see how this is going to work out. Alarak is one of these hit or miss things. He can be absolutely fantastic, but we had a few games now where Alarak was taken and he was just bullied throughout the entire game. But a good Alarak player can make all the difference. I mean, Rich on Alarak or any of the former HGC pros is just absolutely crazy. If we couldn't see anything similar here, then France is going to have a tough time. They go for the Haka, top side. And Tigers at the bottom of the map now too for the burst against Diablo with the bigger they are on level 4. The final pick, on the other hand, for Ukraine. Are they running Alarak in the 4-man or is he going to be solo laning? That's the first question. They could go for 3 melee heroes if they really wanted to, but I expect that we're going to have some more range damage coming in, and ideally also someone that offers at least some wave clear, because right now they're definitely trailing behind in the 4-man rotation. And there's Sonya. So Sonya with a melee, very likely going to be topside. And then Alarak at the bottom of the map in the 4-man, trying to get the kills in there. Yeah, let's get ready. Which team is going to take the lead? It is a best of 5 series. We are here in the semi-final of the Nexus contest. And we are heading into game number 3, Brax's Holdout. Game number 3, the series is tied. Brax's Holdout. The map choice of Ukraine as we are heading into this third game. Val Beatbox for the French on Johanna. Banana H on Ana. Kind of fits. Banana Ana. And Nestip on Jaina. Dequaza on the Haka for the offlane. And Masquerade on Tigers. Witness for Ukraine on Hanzo. We have Shamzik on Malfurion. Valamax on Alarak. Denado on Diablo this time. And Candlelight on Sonya. And as expected, Sonya is moving to the top of the map. Whereas down here, we currently have our 4-man, including Alarak. So they are going to get those kills, or at least they're going to try to. In terms of builds, it's very similar to what we already had in the previous games. Target practice this time though, so a little bit of a Storm Bow adjustment from Hanzo compared to Redemption, which was in the previous games the go-to build and talent that they went for. We have also topside Tigers hiding, so it's a little bit of a trap. Everybody is currently hiding their vision, and Candlelight is not willing to move out onto the map either, because he's just saying, let's see what else we're gonna get. Okay, moves away from this one. Candlelight needs to be careful here. As long as they don't see Tigers, they need to communicate that. Goes in, should still be fine, but the drag connects, and that might be the end of her. Yep, Sonya goes down, playing a little bit too greedy. You need to dodge the drag if you want to survive there. Once that she was off the mount, that was the immediate move in to try and get the kill, and Alarak now has to rotate over to make sure that they don't lose experience. Wait for Sonya to get back. Great start for the blue team. France allay the blur with a bit of a lead into this one already. Because, well, you don't lose experience through this as the Haka moved up topside in time, but now at the bottom of the map you cannot contest the camp that is currently being taken by France. And the entire setup here is, of course, quite weak. So now that Alarak can rotate back down bottom lane, it's going to change a little bit, but they're actually trying to get the camp here first. So they try to use that disadvantage and at least get the most out of it. Trying to get the camp topside, allowing also to get a bit more damage in. Sonya's taking it. And I mean, Sonya in general is in a setup where she can actually do a whole lot when it comes to camp control in overall. But now, the first tower at the bot lane falls. Was a cool move by Diablo to flip at least one of those in. Beacon taken now, top side. Sonya not grabbing the camp yet, is about to go for it. Valamax is actually suffering against the Haka here. Quasar is just playing a really good solo lane in general. I mean, he's been doing really well on that solo lane. Masquerade is back to business and is starting to move in. Dashes in, and Sonya is dead again. This setup isn't working out at all for Ukraine so far. Second kill against Sonya, and she's just not able to hold a candle to this setup with the Haka and Tychus. And I love the Tychus rotations too. He's even moving in from behind right now. Valamax actually is walking right into him, tries to hit the combo here, but instead it was just more damage from Tychus. So Masquerade with really good plays here, not only setting up the 2 kills together with the Haka topside, but now also intercepting the rotation here. And they're also going for a witness! And Denado, the grenade is good, pushes Diablo back in, and even with the heals of Malfurion, they can't save him. It was a 5 versus 4, since the Haka moved down to the bottom of the map as well. Here comes the sleep, they're trying to go for Melf. Oh, yeah, Alarak, you need to be careful. And even with them surviving, this is still a problem. I mean, they're all low, so they're going to need some time until they're going to be back to business. What a start for France here. What a start. They did incredibly well early on. 3 kills against 0. They have control. They have 26 points already on the objective. Nearly a level ahead. A very good start for them. Broccoli with the vengeful roots here for Melf. We're seeing Hanzo continuing with the Storm Bow build with the explosive arrows now. And still in search of a kill. I mean, the setup here can be great. If you have the roots and Malfurion and you hit the Alarak combo and then Hanzo comes in with the damage, you can definitely take a target down. But the French team is just playing this too well so far. Ana is looking at 6 stacks for her sleeping dart. Things are looking fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Top side, Sonya. Really having trouble against the Haka too. I mean, the level 4 talent for Sonya actually gives us the Shot of Fury now. Not going into Hurricane against this setup here, even with the slows that we're seeing coming in from... well, first of all, Johanna, but also Jaina. And down here, I mean, the control is still very much so in the hand of the blue team. They're losing it every now and then, so the progress on the objective is still pretty slow. It's one of those weird maps. Like, these days, Praxis is just a map that I'm not really a bigger fan of, just simply because it always feels that the objective is incredibly difficult to take. And very often, even if you get it and you have 100 against 0% on the progress bar, you don't get a lot out of it. It's a weird objective in the first place, and it feels very unsatisfying. Can do well if you have way superior, if you have great wave clear and your opponent doesn't. But it's one of those weird ones. It's a map that we don't see too often either. Level 7 talents now in the hand of France, and they are moving topside again with Tychus, and that's going to be another kill. Sonya is down again against the Haka alone. She might have been able to take it here, but as you can see, she goes down once more as Tychus just appears in time, gets the kill, and this is just a nightmare. For Ukraine, this is a nightmare. It's a solo lane where you're losing your hero the entire time, and if you don't send someone over, you're going to lose the experience. If you send someone over, you lose control of the bot lane. It's just absolute, utter domination in this early game here. And what Ukraine needs is kills. They need to find kills. And they have a setup that definitely has the potential to get these kills, but it hasn't happened so far. And if it doesn't happen soon, then they might get snowballed here. I mean, the objective is already at 68%. Tychus is again in position. Quasar is sitting here and is just waiting for the drag, and then Tychus is gonna go straight for it. And there we have it already. Tychus with the extra damage, pushing him back. They can't connect the drag here, but Sonya's down to 50% health. And that's in the solo lane. Dehaka is now alone against her again because Tigers rotates down. It's just such a fluid game from France's perspective. They rotate Tigers top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom the entire time. And every time he arrives topside, he gets value. It might be a kill. It might only him getting the bigger they are through once. But even if they only get Sonya to half HP, it makes Dehaka's life on that lane so much easier. And now that it is a 4 versus 4 at the bot lane again, they're looking for the fight. Yeah, Alarak is trying to stack here. He's also trying, of course, to set a kill up. But he's being attacked again quite heavily. Level 10 abilities are not there yet for France, but they will soon. It's a level lead. And Dehaka again in the fight against Sonya. Should have a bit of essence. He's about to go for the drag here. Gets those auto attacks in too. And Sonya has to move away from this. Has to be careful. Drag is in. And Quasar nearly gets a kill. Again, he's playing fantastic on that solo lane. But his life is made a bit easier by those constant rotations. Now we have another kill. Alarak is down. And oh boy, this looks pretty much like a beating. You woke the dragon. You woke the baguette. Yep. Sonya dead. Alarak dead. 100%. Ring of Frost. The kill against Hanzo. They go for Malfurion. And oh my god. The Odin flank against Denado. They take all of them down. Every single one. And, well, the French actually pausing the game. I think they're at this point probably asking Ukrainian players if they are okay or if they need a moment to just recover from this, because that was pretty much a beatdown. And it is tough. But yeah, Quasar paused the game, but let's look at this real quickly. It's a 2-level lead. Like, again, we're talking 2-level advantage. 7.5 minutes into the game. 100% wave up to the top. Everybody dead except for Alarak on the side of Ukraine. So this one is dead. You cannot save this fort. This fort is down. There is no way to save this. I mean, Alarak is not even going to move towards the fort, I think. He's probably going to just stay here. We're having at the bottom of the map a 4-man push coming into this. Of course, they have to defend the wave too, but that should be easy for them. So very likely we're going to at least have 2 forts fall now. The level 10 abilities here give another massive, massive push now also to the French team, who currently have 9 kills against 0. And this entire setup is just horrifying. France has woken up. They lost game number 1, but then Ukraine, I mean, they poked the bear here. And now France, with their full might on first map Towers of Doom, just took the first game, and now they're trying to take the lead in this series. They're playing exceptionally well here, and it's going to be extremely difficult for Ukraine to come back into it. They don't have heroic abilities. They just don't have heroics. So they can't even take a fight. And to be honest, depending on how long it takes them to get the next level, we could even see the boss taken. As it happens, they're not even making the play for the bottom fort, and I think they could and should have maybe. But instead we're seeing Dehaka holding the lane. They take the easy fort topside, and with the rotation it seems to me that they're trying to put the first pressure onto the keep itself. It's the only reason why you would rotate top with this. You want to get a lot more out of it. You not only want to get 2 forts, you want to get a keep. Or at least get some damage onto the keep to get it a lot easier later on in the game. They're opening up the walls. Heroics are not ready yet. But yeah, if you go for that particular push, you have to at least get the wall. And that's currently what they're doing here. Level 10 is still not there. But the turrets fall. So, yeah, they get this. Are we going to see the rotation towards the boss in the middle here? 10 is nearly there. Making a bit of an appearance, but I don't think they can go full one. Now, I'm not quite sure if, like, I really agree with the rotation, because the only thing that they did now is open up the wall a little bit. But I think if they went down or stayed at the bottom of the map, they could have taken the second fort. So as I said before, they might still be getting it because Ukraine is a bit slow to react to the rotation. So it seems like they're getting it after all. But if Ukraine would have reacted like earlier to it, they could have avoided that. There's the arrow! Telekinesis into the arrow. The Ring of Frost comes through. But Quasar, no, he does survive. Diablo and Sonya, they don't though. And it looks like Alarak is gonna die too. He gets dragged again as Quasar gets it. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where they rotated. Perfect play. They might have been using this a little bit different. But the French are just playing perfectly, yeah, nearly. 12 kills against 0. They are 3 levels ahead nearly. They're going to get another talent advantage in just a moment. They're also taking the boss now, of course. You can't contest this. Yes, Diablo is back, but Alarak isn't, so you can't really contest it. Quasar is even sitting at the side here, trying to anchor that. Witness sees it, but what are they going to do about it? Here come the level 13 talents. Boss is now moving in, and this is just a nightmare for Ukraine. It's their map pick. Keep that in mind. They picked the map. They didn't get the first pick, first ban advantage. They instead said, nope, we're going to play Brexit. This is a map that we feel is going to be good for us. We feel we have the upper hand here. And now they're just getting annihilated. I mean, it's insane. Like, the French team is looking so powerful here. And if they continue playing like this, then I think it's undoubtedly going to be them participating in the grand final. But the Ukraine surprised us in game number 1. They can definitely do us in the next map. Maybe even a comeback here. I mean, if they pull it off, that would be pretty impressive. But right now, they're fighting for their life. They are still 3 levels behind. They're talent behind 2. The keep is going to fall, 100%. Can they save the core? That's the question. Because that boss is still pretty healthy. We're 10 minutes in, so it didn't scale too hard. There's still a chance for Ukraine to maybe hold the core and then try and turn it around. Team wipe, for example, right now would be a dream for them. But they need to make sure they don't lose anyone. Blessed Shield misses. They're going in. Ring of Frost only hits Malf. They can't get the kill, and Jaina is down. Sonya coming into the back lane, and now it looks like Anna's gonna fall too. She's dead, and so is Tychus. Or at least he should be. Ooh, yeah, and there's the kill. Triple kill. 80% on the core. So a bit of damage against it, but 3 kills, and now they get a bit closer. They're trying to get more. If they can get Johanna 2, that would be fantastic, but I highly doubt it. Oh, well, maybe. Too early on the route. Diablo with a flip gets actually dragged, but they might be able... No, they're not getting Wild Beatbox. Oh my god, it was close. If they could stagger that death, that would have been fantastic for them. But wasn't quite working out. Shamzik could have maybe... I mean, hindsight is always 20/20, but if Shamzik holds back the root and doesn't use it during the Iron Skin, then they might be able to make it work. As it stands, that wasn't quite the case. But we have a big lead now on the objective for Ukraine, and they also get 1 camp. They have level 13. That helps them to take the even fight now. So maybe they can start a comeback into this. 3 kills would allow them to do that. Camp now taken by the French team as well. And Dehaka is taking control over the top lane. Now keep in mind, with the fort still in play, there's always a retreat point for France. There's always a retreat point. They can always fall behind the gate. They have the turret still. They can also go for the fountain. And they're looking for those easy kills again. And there they come. Again, the Blessed Shield from Johanna, but no proper follow-up. The French team definitely missing a few beats here every now and then. But they are still massively ahead. Let's not kid ourselves here. So Ukraine needs more. Especially... What? Alright, that ring didn't really do too much. Nestip saw a chance, but it didn't work out for them. They need to take a deep breath here. They're still far ahead. They're gonna get level 16. They can play around that. But now they're waiting for 2 cooldowns. They wait for the Ring of Frost to come back and for the Blessed Shield. They still have Sonya shirking around here. They're trying to actually go for Dehaka, but I don't think they can stop. Ooh, nice dodge on the spear. Really well done. But here comes the engage, and they're going for Dehaka, and Dehaka is about to go down. Dehaka is dead, and the Ukraine is starting to gain some momentum here. They're going back onto the objective. We're going to take more of a lead. Now down here to the bottom, we're seeing, of course, the attempt to contest it by France. But immediately Ukraine is ready. 16 talents give the advantage now over to the blue team, though. And they're using it on Diablo. And they get the kill. He's going to be back in just a few seconds, but without a counter kill, this is a really tough situation now for France. Because Dehaka is going to be back in 8 seconds, and he still has his global. He can still burrow in, but yeah, the disadvantage with the lack of a level 16 talent makes it difficult right now for Ukraine. They're still fighting for this though, and Diablo is back. It's going to be a 5 versus 5. The drag against Diablo. In the backline, Sonya is already low. Here comes Malfurion with the Tranquility, trying to heal everyone up again. But France, they hold the point. And they still have the massive lead in XP. And it's going to take a while for the team in red to get that experience, to get that level 16, to get the talent, and to finally be able to fight on even footing again. Especially with how aggressive France obviously plays now. They have the lead, they have the 5 versus 5. Of course they're going to force it. They're going to try and move in, steal those camps away, take the top. Good dodge again by Nequaza. Even Odin being used now. They're getting the drag again, but this time Malfurion was ready. Oh, the isolation though. Good move from Valamax, even dodging the Ring of Frost here. Lightning Breath, that might be the turnaround. They might be able to pull it off after all, but they are at a disadvantage without 16. progress on the objective now for the French. And Hanzo is trying to stop it by moving straight down to the beacon and retaking it. They are fighting for 16, but they are not even on 15 yet. They finally are about to grab the talent, but it's just a massive back and forth that we're having right now with Ukraine trying to buy time. They're trying to buy time, but they're definitely showing teeth at this point. They had a horrible early game, and even the early stages of the mid game didn't really look too good for them. But once their core was under attack, they were able to finally get some kills and start to fight back here. But of course, with the keep topside lost, with now more and more mercenary camps pushing through the lanes, and France trying to get the additional objective, things look still bleak from their perspective. They are 5-manning most of it, but a full 100% Zerg wave barreling through the bot lane would very likely mean that the second keep falls, and this is just something that you can't really afford here. So at that point in time, Ukraine is still going to try and see if they can maybe get a kill somewhere. Ideally, once that they have level 16 talents, keep in mind there's also the boss back up on the map, so that's another big problem for Ukraine. Camps are taken everywhere by the French now. They're taking whatever they can, stealing the camps on the right side. And Ukraine is just sitting there. It's like, guys, as long as they don't go boss, let's just not care. Let's just wait for 16 and try and force the fight. And the objective is going to do work at the bot lane now, especially since it's also accompanied now by the wave that was just taken, or the mercenary camp. So this is rough. And they also don't have an insane amount of wave clear either. It's not like they're running with massive wave clear in this, but they're going to try their best to hold the keep for now. It's unlikely that they're going to be able to do that. Ring of Frost. Ooh, Johanna sucking him back in. And Witness gets away. Barely. Could have been a kill, but they're still able to take down Alarak. He falls. There's no counter kill, and this should be lights out. The 16 talents are finally there, but they're playing a 5 versus 4 at this point in time, and things are not looking pretty for Ukraine. 80 points on the core. The shield is about to fall. They're engaging hard into it again, but the French team is just burning down that core, and that is the lead for the Bleus. French with a victory on Brax's holdout. Game number 4, Ukraine against France. And we are on Battlefield of Eternity. Battlefield, map number 4. Map choice of the French this time. First pick, first ban goes to Ukraine. And, well, they are behind. They won the first map today, but then France, they woke up and they started to ban out Arthurs, which really helped them a lot. They eliminated a lot of these preference picks that we saw from Ukraine in game number 1. And that worked like a charm. Could definitely see an Arthur's ban again on this map, but the first thing that happens is they're getting rid of Maiev. Alright, fair enough. There's the Jaina ban, right there. They're finally done with this. They're like, nah, you know what? That Jaina, that's a little bit too much for us to handle. Those Ring of Frost and that burst damage that come is a bit too annoying, and all the control with the slows. Screw her. Are we going to see Arthur's being banned out, or do they allow him for the top lane this time? That's the big question heading into the second ban now for France. What's going to be the priority? And Malfurion! Okay. I guess we could see an early pick into Tyrande here. She's super powerful. Tyrande or Hanzo, those are the two picks that you would normally look at. We have Diablo still open, Garrus is open, Arthas is open. And Hanzo. Hanzo over Tyrande. So very likely that France is going to pick Tyrande here. No, there's the Arthas. That's the reason why they didn't ban him. They want Arthas for themselves. I was already thinking about that. Like, well, why do you not ban it out here? And there we have it. Immediately going straight for the Arthas pick, getting Tyrande as well. And that is actually pretty awesome. So, that's dangerous. Howling Blast into Tyrande stun. I mean, this is pretty much how a big part of the composition that Ukraine ran on Infernal Shrines when they had the victory. Here comes Tyrael and Rhaegar. Could see a ban on Blaze now. If you have a Tyrael and get the Blaze on top of that, then you pretty much have Sanctification and Bunker as both defensive tools. So a ban on Blaze would maybe be a good choice here for the French. I mean, there's a couple of other options in terms of damage, but I still think Blaze would be a good ban now. Prevent the bunker. No, Zeratul. More worried about Zeratul. Fair enough. I mean, Arthas is usually not run as a main tank, so I think he's going to be the offlaner for the French. But if they run Arthas on the main, they could run Blaze too, but I don't really think that that's going to happen. So, looking over to the opponent, if you're trying to ban out a main tank, then you still have to make a choice here. It's going to be difficult though, but okay, they go for Diablo. Garrosh still up, Johanna is up, Muradin is up. A lot of CC, no matter who you take here. And very hit point heavy on top of that too. So, the French team, they also need a bit more damage. Li Ming, again, great here on this map. You already have Tyrande for the Hunter's Mark on the Immortal, but if you have the poke, Li Ming would be fantastic now. I'm pretty sure we're going to see her. Yep, Li Ming and Garrosh. And now I would really like to have Blaze for Ukraine. I think with Tyrael and Sanctification, you want to have Blaze with the bunker. And then you need to get some damage behind that, of course. If you're going into a mage, I mean, you can still think about Gul'dan. That might be something. Again, this depends a little bit on the map. Normally, Gul'dan is something you only want to take on Infernal Shrines. Not always the best pick necessarily here. Hammer! Forgot about her. Forgot about Hammer, but we have our Blaze picks. I like this. Tyrael, Blaze, and Sergeant Hammer with that. Heavy auto attack now from Ukraine. And how do the French react? They could still do with a bit more damage here. They already have Li Ming and can home in on Hammer. We have seen a lot of double mage actually from them. But I doubt a bit they're going to do it here against this setup. Jimmy. It's time for Jimmy. Get Jimmy in here, and, well, that is our lineup for map number 4. So let's go straight in. Battlefield of Eternity. Are the French going to be able to win the entire series, the best of 5, or is Ukraine going to force map number 5? We're going to find out right now. Game number 4, the lead for the French, and if France takes it on Battlefield of Eternity, it is going to be a victory in the semi-final that will lead them to a grand final participation. To the left side, we have them starting off with Banana H on Tyrande, Valbeatbox on Garrosh, Dequaza this time with his offlane Arthas, Nested on Li Ming, and Masquerade on Jim Raynor. And to the right side of the map, the Ukraine in red with Witness on Hanzo, Candlelight on Blaze, Valamax on Sergeant Hammer. We have Denado on Tyrael and Shamzik on Rhaegar in this game. And already a little bit of an adjustment into the mid lane here. There's no Genji in this game, so you don't have to guard your fountain. But in terms of talents, nothing too shocking. I mean, given the map, we have Hanzo now making the adjustment again and going straight into the scatter arrow. So obviously you want to race down that Immortal as quickly as you can. The level 4 talent, mostly important for that. Rhaegar also with his level 1, the Colossal Totem. So very likely the Earth Grasp on 16 so that he gets the extra CC. I mean, in general, we have now also a lot of CC on both sides. I mean, you have again Hanzo's Arrow, Jet Propulsion, we're having the Earthgrass Totem here. On the other side, you're looking towards the stuns coming out from Tyrande and Garrosh, but also on top of that, Arthas himself with the Howling Blast. So the Cleanse and the Celestial Attunement from Rhaegar and Tyrande are going to be really important for the team fights to make sure that nobody gets locked down too hard. Arthas again in the combo with Jim Raynor, so the ace in the hole as a level 1 talent is going to do extremely well for France to get the extra 15% damage out. The question is really how much is Valamax going to be able to do on Sergeant Hammer. I mean, Hammer in general is just really powerful and one of the best auto attackers that we currently have in the game. You go up against, obviously, Garrosh, so you need to be careful with those flips. There's also a huge CC chain that has to be considered. There is a lot of damage from Li Ming too, but with the shields from Tyrael, you can mitigate a lot of that, and then on top of it, Rhaegar is pretty decent with the heals there as well. But it really comes down at the end of the day to how well can you set up around the Immortal, and can you zone your opponent out properly. And Valamax already in the position at the side, Nested with the shots being fired, but they're moving in for it again. They're trying to take the early fight here, and Denado is low on Tyrael. Needs to be really careful, goes down. They're willing to take the trade here with him, as long as they get some value in the back, and they might get the counter kill, and there it is. Get one counter kill and try to go for another. That's the big thing with Tyrael. If you have him in a position like this, you can sacrifice the hero. Even Arthur's coming down, but being a little bit late to the party. Shots fired here on both sides again, as Li Ming is attempting to land a combo, but Blaze now rotating back up. But you could see how Tyrael's sacrifice there was actually worth it. They were able to take the camp. So they have Tyrael, he jumps back in and he says, hey, I'm going to zone them out, or I'm going to get the value here. Then we're going to get the camp on top of that. And they make a 1-for-1 trade happen. They take the camp. And now we're going to find out who takes the first objective with this. Also, the earlier camp taken over here on the right side by Ukraine, but obviously still the rotation from France to get the same done as well. I mean, the game so far is pretty... Wait, what? Alright, rotation top side. Jimmy goes down. Arthur's nearly falling too. Didn't expect that, as you could probably tell. Jimmy falling at that moment in time is a pretty bad start, because you already go up against Hanzo, who takes that Immortal down within seconds, but then on top of it, you are also starting late into the race, because your own camp clear is late on the Shaman camp, and you're losing Reyna too, so the halftime show goes over to Ukraine without any problem whatsoever. And that's a decent position now again for Ukraine, since they can poke from the outside, but they have to be careful. Leonardo is already low, but he jumps out with the Druid's Might. Job well done. But there's the poke, and everybody's low. They can't really go for anything else. Hammer is in a fantastic position here in the back. Masquerade is trying to get the damage in. Howling Blast done. They're throwing everything at the Sergeant. But that means that a lot of cooldowns are being burned. Hanzo has now made the rotation to the bottom of the map to deal with the Shaman camp as much as he can, helping out as the towers are starting to focus on it, but the race is something they're going to win easily. Hammer's already in position, here comes Witness, and that's going to be the end of this Immortal. 50% shields roughly for them, so this is looking strong. It's looking really good for them, in the early game at least, that is. Still attempting to fight a bit over those regeneration globes. French team is looking to see if maybe someone makes a lone approach towards them that they can snipe, but that's not the case. So now we're having the bot lane pressure starting up as Hanzo completes his level 1 quest. Siege tactics, of course, still insanely powerful here. That unstoppable in siege mode is still super, super strong. That's really helping Hammer a lot against everything that can come out, especially from Tyrande. That's particularly the one thing she wants to dodge here, if she can. And with a sieger position down here, this is a great start for Ukraine. They're going to be able to move easily through the wall. Very likely going to get the fountain. I don't think they're going to get more than that. But just taking the fountain away from the bot lane is already a big win. So that's working nicely. Of course, now with the hovering siege mode, you can also start to get more control over those mercenary camps as you're moving in. But France is still trying to fight back against it. Level 7 now also, the Swift Retribution. The attack speed bonus alone is really good if you can get it on Hammer. Here comes the attack. Tyrael is going to be willing to sacrifice himself again for it as long as he gets the value. Oh, Garrosh barely with a save. That was a close call by him. They were trying to get the kill, but they couldn't. They get the camp though, and the death timers are still low. So Tyrael jumping in on that. They nearly got Garrosh too, but if they could have just exploded on Jim Reyna, would have been enough. But with both of them being forced back, this is still a decent position for Ukraine. And until level 10, this is really one of the moments when you have to take your battles a little bit there. Is it worth dying, getting the explosion in, or not? And in the late game, of course, that is going to fall a little bit, the value that you get out of that, just simply because the death timers are higher. But that's also when you're going to be able to rely onto your sanctification, and you can always combo it off with a bunker. And with 2 heroes topside, they're pushing bottom. They're just saying, well, if you have Jimmy top, then we are going to start to put the pressure onto the fort at the bottom of the map. We're not going to get it, but we're at least going to get some damage in. Jimmy now with the rotation, but there are also mines on the side from Hammer, so they know exactly whenever Jimmy is coming in for this one. And the fight, obviously, going to continue over Immortal number 2. That's going to spawn any second. So this is going to be... I think this is starting to become a little bit tricky for the French team. It's not like they can't win this. Obviously, they have a fantastic composition here too, if they can stack all that CC and then blow one target up, especially with Liming getting resets. But the setup is pretty decent still for Ukraine, especially around Hanzo. You get so much damage on that Immortal, and if Rhaegar comes in with a lightning shield, you get even more. The race is insane for them. It's still pretty much a 50-50. It's a slight lead for Ukraine. France is close. And we're going to see the defensive positions right now. No, the swap, it's going to be a race again. And I don't think France can win it, and they don't think so either. They're trying to get the kill instead. They're moving in. Cleanse comes in. And Tyrael survives for now. Liming the only one at the left side, trying to get some damage in. But as you can already tell, with Hammer and Hanzo, both of them are just shelling away here. Look at Masquerade on Reyna. He's already so low that they can't keep him in the fight for much longer. Tyrande is trying to heal whatever she can, but it's tricky. Still Liming doing work. Liming doing solid work, and now they have to race it, and they're trying to. They're moving in. Are they going for the kills? No, they go for the objective, and they are taking it. Second one taken, and they want to go for the fight now. And they should. They're in a great spot here, and the stuns are missing. Here comes the slow, and goodbye, Jimmy. Jimmy is down. Denard. Oh, the ult! The arrow! And can they take him? No. Or maybe. Maybe. Oh, it's close, but they are not able to get him. It was a great arrow, though. Good arrow, but the follow-up just was not fast enough. They weren't in range. But now we already have the attack at the top of the map, and there's no one defending this for now. Because the entire aggression went to the bottom of the map, so now they're starting to rotate in. But the wall has already been taken, and this is looking more and more like we're going to see Fort number 1 fall in this game, especially since they don't have heroic abilities yet. And when it comes to heroics, the blunt force gun is also claimed now. Level 10 finally ready for France, but it's a bit late, as you can see here. And Arthas. Arthas, hello. I mean, he's getting attacked. Blaze is coming in. There's the Ancestral keeping Hammer alive. Fight turns around against Ukraine. And there they go. Hammer eliminated, and all of a sudden they're on the run. And they were hoping to get the kill against Arthas here, but it was a bait all along. Candlelight is low. Might be able to get away from this one. Oh, stun. Howling Blast. Nope. Rhaegar is there and is able to get the slow in. Good kill. Good kill from the French. But just not enough to really make a dent into this, I believe. But they're at least having a bit of momentum here, and that allows them to go to the bottom of the map and take one of the camps. So they're using the numeric advantage that they have on the map. It's still elite in structures, and that will, of course, increase the passive experience that the Ukrainian team is now going to get over time. And they still have a good position here, too. They're starting to move in again against Garrosh. The stuns on Tyrande, by the way, really solid. I mean, just look at the stacks here that we're seeing for Banana Age. He's sitting at 12 stacks. We're 9.5 minutes into the game, and he's already sitting at 12. That is pretty solid performance from him. The bot lane pressure is, on the other hand, with 5 heroes pushing into it now, pretty intense. And Arthas will have to eventually rotate down if they keep that up, because that fort is threatened. And Arthas is making the rotation now. He's trying to move in. And he's going to be trying to flank here too. Moving in from the side. There are mines, but he's going to take that battle. And it's going to be a big one. Howling Blast is there already. Here comes the Sanctification. Great momentum for them. And Arthur still trying to walk Sergeant Hammer down. And that might actually succeed. They're going in. The bunker is also cutting the retreat off. Rhaegar completely isolated by Garrosh. The Hanzo arrow with a value, but the reset as Liming gets the kill. Arthas goes down to a 1-for-1 trade in kills. And the fight is over, at least for now. Fountain still up for a few of them. The rest is already being back. But it looks like we're going to have that Immortal race starting up as both of the teams have level 12. In terms of damage, Hanzo on 29,000, Hammer at least sitting at 26, and they're going for it again. Where's Hanzo? That's the big question. Liming and Reyna are already going straight for the Immortal, and they're getting the lead for their team here. But with the Hanzo coming in, that's going to change pretty quickly, and he's just burning it down. Burning it down at this point in time. Trying to get another combo through, and that's them winning the halftime show once again. By the smallest of margin, but they're taking it. Defensive position this time. Nope. Again, the burn. Trying to race it down, and if you are the French, you can't win this. You just can't win it. You can't outpace Hanzo. So I thought they might be able to pull it off. There's the taunt. Are they going to get it? No. Even with everything that they're throwing against the Immortal, even with Tyrande and the Hunter's Mark, you just can't outrace Hanzo. It's too much. That bad boy is just too powerful on this map. But they got close. They got really close. It's basically no shield that we have. I would be shocked if that bottom 4 doesn't fall. And you can now tell that there is starting to be a gap in experience between the two teams, and that's mostly because the fort at the top has fallen, and that passive experience advantage for Ukraine. If they take out fort number 2, they're about to, that is going to increase even further. So the situation is getting in better for the red team. They take this one easily. They're going to try and at least break through the wall at the bottom of the map to open up a bit of an opportunity for later on in the game to maybe even take it right away. Level 13 talents are giving them a small edge too. And that's one tower down. Trying to make the gate disappear too. But, well, is there a throw? Nah. Good move. Pushing Garrosh back. Again. Swap attempt while Beatbox really wants to get close to someone, but they're retreating in pretty disciplined fashion. But here's the Arthur's flank again. This time, completely stopped though. Blaze was there. Candlelight was anchoring the entire play. And he was saying, if he comes in again, I'm going to be there. I'm going to stop him. I can always jet propulsion. And now it's the fight at the bottom of the map that they're homing in. Or again, keep, or camp. Who's going to get it here? Here comes, oh, the combo hits Valamax. I mean, again, whenever I have full combo hits him, Mirror Ball on 16 would be another great tool against Sergeant Hammer. But Rhaegar is keeping them in play for as long as he can. But we have 4 kills against 4. I was dead even in kills. It's just really the structural advantage that makes all the difference here, as you can see in the passive experience tab. There is already more than 1,000 experience point discrepancy between the two teams, and this is going to continue throughout the game. And it's scary for level 16, because if you don't get kills right now, it's a problem. Camp stolen away, while Beatbox just walks in, takes it, throws Tyrael out, nothing you can do about it. There's the taunt, the jet propulsion connects, the arrow comes in, but it's only a short one. Again, they're trying with the bunker. Ancestral is out, Masquerade is low, the damage is in, and Tyrael is on the move. He has not used his Sanctification yet. It was interrupted. It's back of cooldown in just a moment. And they're already slowing Garrosh again. And Denado wants to jump in. Howling Blast is there. Good move. Denado might have to use Sank, and he does. No one falling. He jumps out. Follow up from Nestip. Looks for the reset. Doesn't get it. Doesn't find the kill. A lot of action there. A lot of cooldowns burned. A lot of resources exchanged. But no one dies. Big cooldowns, though, burned from especially the Ukrainians. Are they going for their camp? Not at this point in time. They have to take care of the top lane. That's, of course, the added problem that they have now. It's not only about the experience gap that opens up. It's about those catapults pushing. It's only periodically, but it's a thing. And now the earlier start into the Immortal, but this time it's over on the left side. And the camp has still not been taken by France, so they have a bit of an advantage at the bottom of the map. A bit of poke is happening. It's not too much. Couldn't really get any damage in just yet, but they are making Garrosh play for the position. This on the... Oh, yeah. Alright, that was... I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Blaze was blown up so quickly. Even if he had bunker in any way, that wouldn't have mattered either. Like, he was dead within a second. A throw into a stun, into a follow-up stun, into an immortal stun. I mean, he was just obliterated here. But Garrosh is also taking a bit of a beating as they're coming in from the flank. Another 10 seconds and Blaze is going to be back on the map, but the halftime show now handily won by the French team. And this might be the turning point in the game. Already, they go for Hanzo. He barely gets away, gets the cleanse too. Blaze is still not back. They're fighting for this one. And here comes the arrow. Big one into the Immortal stun. A 3-man Immortal stun. A beautiful arrow and everybody is low. Denado is getting attacked though. Drops the Sanctification at the last moment. They're going for the defense. They get Liming. She was looking for the resets. Couldn't find them. Now Blaze is back. But what an insane setup. Unbelievable. The Hanzo arrow into the Immortal stun. Get wrecked, kids. I mean, that's definitely a Hanzo's wet dream right there. And now they're trying to get even more kills. They're moving in again. Indomitable being used by Garrosh as he barely escapes. And the French team is just running. 16 in the hands of the Ukraine. They're going to try and turn the CI. And let's keep in mind, with 16 we have Giant Killer. And that's a game changer. If you go up against Garrosh and against Arthur's, well, God be with you, because you are going to be in for a tough, tough game for sure here. Immortal is already about to fall. Hanzo again, just shelling away. Here comes Hammer. They go in for it. Yeah, Howling Blast away. Doesn't matter at this point. In the long run, this should be taken by Ukraine. They're trying to make the play. The Shaman camp at the bot lane is a bit of a concern. They need to be careful with that. But over here, they're fighting. And Val Beatbox, he's about to fall, walks into the mines, and he's down. He's down. And they get the Immortal too. Here's the arrow again. Arrow on Hanzo. The stun comes through just as the jet propulsion is about to come in, but they're trying to body block their Quasar. Here comes the oil spill, slowing down Arthur's. Bunker on the ground as well. Valamax is getting the Giant Killer value, but they cannot get another kill. They can't get another kill, but they have the Immortal now. It's 16 versus 16, but they move topside. The Immortal's at the bottom of the map, and they're already going for the keep here.
And again, just look at the damage output at this point. 48,000 for Sergeant Hammer and 48k for Hanzo. And this is just going to be skewed more and more in favor of Hammer now that 16 is there. Giant Killer against Arthurs, against Garrosh. All day long, you're gonna go do so much damage. Well, as long as you survive. Ancestral is there. By the way, Jimmy's at the bottom of the map, but that keep, as you can see, is already taking a massive amount of damage. They're pushing the top, they're pushing the bottom. Ukraine is currently everywhere. But they need to make sure that they get at least one keep, because this one is not going to fall. This one is not falling. And the top hasn't fallen either. They succeeded in damaging both severely. But they didn't take one. They made the play. They tried to split the attention, but it didn't work. And now they're still on a level lead. Superior position on the map. But they haven't gotten the advantage that they were hoping for. Still ahead in the game though. 6 kills against 5. And again, their 16 is great. But now we have also another talent that we talked about a little bit earlier. We're actually looking at Mirror Ball. So now if Li Ming gets a free shot at Sergeant Hammer, that can hurt a lot. On top of that, the Remorseless Winter, so a little bit more CC. Well, Beatbox is a bit worried about that camp. But we have the very early claim on the Shaman camp, so trying to put the pressure onto the keep topside. But now the rotation towards the bottom. And now this is another shitty spot for the French to be in. You want to take the camp down here, you want to defend it, but at the same time something's pushing top lane. And there's catapults too, so you have to give up on this one. You can't take it. Can't just sit there all day long and like just look if your opponent takes it or not and then try and defend it. You have to send someone topside to deal with the situation. That's going to be Arthurs. So with Arthurs appearing on the map, that's an easy grab down here. It's going to deal with the camp a little bit. But now we have the Immortal spawning in another 20 seconds. And that Immortal spawn is going to be an important one. Because, let's be honest, Ukraine winning this objective pretty much means they won the game. Even if they only take the 2 keeps and don't immediately go for core. Even if you only take the 2 keeps, can you really recover from that spot? Only if your opponent makes some massive mistakes. And so far, the Ukraine, in this game at least, have made very few. Their Hammer setup with Blaze and Tyrael is working great for them. Shamzik in the back the entire time. Dequaza, Howling Blast, stun, immediate Ancestral. No hesitation, none whatsoever. Immediately making sure that the first layer of defense is being used here. Cooldowns were burned on both sides. Army of the Dead is in. The collapse on the French. They're starting to move straight for the Immortal. And the race is on. The Ukraine is looking at it and is like, we don't really care because we have just more than you. There's Tyrael being attacked. Sanctification not being used. Was interrupted. The BFG comes through. Tyrael explodes, but he's gone. Tyrael is gone. They interrupted the tank with a taunt. Now they're trying to make the play for Rega, and he barely gets out, but Blaze doesn't. And the French, they get the kills. Look at Valamax nearly dropping Li Ming here. She barely survives, but she does, and that's the important part. Halftime show nearly reached. Bottom of the map, heavy pressure. Need to deal with it. Topside, on the other hand, is focusing on the keep itself. And it looks like, for now, at least the Ukraine is moving back and saying, alright, we have to wait this out. There was no cleanse on Tyrael when he was trying to get the Sanctification through. He was interrupted, and without the Sank he falls. If he gets the Sank through there, it's a completely different fight. It's a completely different fight all of a sudden. And this one is going to be won by the French. It's going to be their first Immortal. And it's going to go topside. But we're having a bit more damage being put in by Ukraine to drop the shield as low as they possibly can. And to be honest with you, that was a good effort. Only 10,000. Still the leading experience for Ukraine. They are still ahead in experience. Well, that was a good one. And now topside is going to be focused. And what's topside? Exactly. There's still a fort there. So that should be an easy defense. Shouldn't lose a keep. They're going to lose the fort. Likely. That's the least that the French want to get out of this. From a French perspective, what you want here is you want to get a kill. Find a kill and then take more. Take more than only the fort. Go for the keep. Try and get more here. Try and snowball it. But unlikely that it's going to happen anytime soon. They're pushing it back though. Sanctification is right there. And that's exactly the aggressive play that we've been waiting for. That's exactly what we expected here. The fort is down and they're behind the gate at the keep. But they should be able to defend this. Stuns come out against Hammer. They can't get close enough. Hammer's firing away. Hanzo too. They're trying to burn the Immortal down as quickly as it can. And the French are playing this attack really well, actually. They're doing really well. But as you can see, the Immortal is just not healthy enough to make a big dent in here. Are they going to get the keep, though? They're trying. They're still trying to poke. But nope, not quite. Good defense. And 20 versus 20 is now in-game. And that means also, amongst other things, that we're, of course, having the Storm Shield on the side of Rhaegar. Look at that engage. They're trying to chase this a little bit, even. Also, the Orbital, the BFG. Another big one. With a good angle, you can dominate a lane completely, just simply because you're taking those minions down. Here comes the stun again. Hammer, Ancestral is a bit early here, but the arrow comes out too. Big cooldowns burned. Burning a lot of cooldowns for this. And here comes the attack against Tyrael again, but is able to jump out. Whew. The French are really, really eager to win the series here. They don't want to go to game 5. No, they don't. They are putting as much pressure onto the map as they possibly can, and they are making sure that the Ukrainian players have to give everything they have in order to win this game right now. And they're still a little bit ahead. Actually, they're not really... I mean, they're a bit ahead in structural damage, but in general, it's dead even, actually. I mean, who wins the next objective pretty much wins the game, right? 64,000 from Hammer now. 76 from Hanzo. Camp at the bot lane claimed. Camp at the top taken. And here's the Immortal. And this is going to be the last one. This is going to answer the question if France moves to the grand final after this one, or if the Ukraine have another shot at claiming a grand final spot and force the French team into game number 5. Keeps all over the place are low, but they're still in play. And now, of course, you want to burn those camps down. You see the same at the bottom and at the top. Both of the teams are going to push the lane out and say, one more team fight, boys. One more team fight. The race has already started, and Hanzo needs to be careful. He can't be caught here. You move into a bad Immortal stun, and you are screwed. Here comes the attack. Hammer again in a great position, and they're burning it down. They're burning it down quickly on both sides. But again, with Hanzo in the mix... Oh, actually, yeah, they win it again by 1,700 hit points. That is nothing. And Blaze wasn't there. Arthas isn't there either. And now the rotation. Happening again. Here's the engage. Oh, ho, ho, ho. While Beatbox is getting a beat down. The arrow and the setup for Blaze. He tries to move in. Oh, and Tyrael falls. The Ancestral doesn't hit him in time. And that might be the end of the Ukraine. Ukrainian players are trying to salvage what's there to salvage, but Blaze falls after Tyrael has already died. Rhaegar is on the run, the stuns are too much, and that's the connect right there. The French players, oh my god, they are on a tear right now. They're moving in, bloodlust foaming at their mouth as they go for every single hero on the Ukrainian team, and they take them one after another. They are not showing any mercy here. They go straight for the keep. Hanzo, the only one that's still in play, but everybody else is down for at least another 30 seconds. And the French, they want the victory. They want to go to the grand final. They obliterate Hanzo. He has zero chance here. And with that done, they're moving in for the core. A 3-1 victory for France against Ukraine. What a fantastic series and great play by the French. They lose map 1, they win 3 in a row, and they are the first team to qualify for the grand final of the Nexus contest. GG, well played, and congratulations after a fantastic game 4.